What is up, everyone? It's Gage here. Welcome to Youbucthat. And today we got special guest, Minnesota Vikings man. Welcome back, my guy.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be back, and I can't wait for this week one matchup. I can't. Football is finally back, baby.
Hell yeah! And you got that game on Thursday.
Shocker, shocker. That's all I can really say. Lions are for real. Any of the doubters, you know, they're for real. So, who they're gonna be they're gonna pose a threat in the NFC North. So, but I'm all up. I'm all up for some competition. So, yeah.
And just how they, even last season, they went like 1-6 to start out the first half of the season. And at the end, they started getting a little momentum going and they almost made the playoffs. Even Aaron Rodgers, they literally made Aaron Rodgers X out of the NFC North miserable. They had a pick six off him. That was the last play as Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. So the Lions are no joke.
They are no joke indeed. The Lions, I mean, yes, as you said, they almost made the playoffs last year. If they just had a little bit better of a start, then they definitely would have made the playoffs at last year. But after beating the reigning Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs, you can say whatever, people can say whatever they want, they had no Travis Kelce or Chris Jones, whatever. But Patrick Mahomes still on the other side was still on the other side and was playing, and and when you can beat the Chiefs, that that is an accomplishment, and the Lions are meant to be taken seriously. So, yeah, I won't. I am worried. I'm worried, but as I said, it's gonna be a two a two-legged race, between us and the Lions for that NFC North crown. So we gotta defend that. We gotta defend that North. So yeah,
And for the past couple of decades, really, because Brett Favre, the Packers have been the top dogs. Now it's like, in my opinion, I think it's going to be Vikings and Lions. And the
Vikings and
Lions,
Lions.
they haven't won the NFC North since we're Central, with the Buccaneers in your guys' division. So it's been a long time. Yeah, it's been since like the early '90s. So the
Yeah,
Lions, they want to change. They want to update that history a little bit. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting season.
100%. The Lions, have been. I mean, I think one time they were close to win division, but then Rodgers had that run the table season. So, but Lions are back. Back to their when they were good in the 990s Lions and all that. They have the offense. They have an improved defense to lead them deep in the playoffs, and they got the coach Dan Campbell. I think is one of the best coaches in the league right now. And yeah, I mean, after last night, I mean, I think he win. I mean, he is front in line to win Coach of the Year. So, but we're going to focus on what we need to focus on. We don't play the Lions until week 16. We play them 2 out of the last 3 games. So we don't even have to think about the Lions until December comes around.
Yeah,
So, but
and that
what
will
we got to
probably
focus
be for
on
the
is
division.
week 1. Yeah. What we got to focus on is week 1, winning our game. And yeah, just keep pace and focus on what we need to do. So
100%. You know what I mean? Like I was telling you earlier, like last year, you think I expected the Eagles to make the Super Bowl? No one did. They're like, okay, probably a playoff team. Maybe I can run a little bit in the playoffs, maybe the second
yeah.
round, possibly the championship, but no, not a Super Bowl. That was insane. Um, and that shows you never know how the season will turn out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as Super Bowl, it is super super early, and you never know what will happen. Like I said last year, I thought the Vikings were going to make it last season, but I didn't take account for that defense. Now, like if the Vikings can at least get like top 15 defense, like I think they will, if Brian Flores kind of turned that defense around, I think my prediction is Vikings and Jets. Like I think it's good. That'd be an iconic game: Kirk Cousins versus Aaron Rodgers.
That would be the dream. That is the dream. You have basically read my mind and what I would want for a Super Bowl, beating Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets to win the Super Bowl. That would be ideal because we have been, I mean, we've been bossed around by Rodgers. I mean, we've recently have been, splitting with him and all that, but yeah, he's always been, Mr. Top Dog in, division. And it would be good to prevent him from winning another Super Bowl, and then our franchise will have hopefully, and then we'll have as many as he has. But yeah, that would be a great Super Bowl matchup right there. I would love to have the top 15 defense this year. I mean, who know? I mean, that's it. It could happen. I mean, I'm more like if we can get at least top 20 defense, I'll be good with that too. I remember when Zimmer came in his first year head coach, we went from 31st to 19th, I think. So I'm hoping for like a similar, and we were 31st last season, with Ed Donatel as our defensive coordinator. So I'm hoping we can, do a similar, or if not better, get to maybe that top 15 that you were saying. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is one, like Brian Flores. Let's be honest, he's a great defensive coordinator and best in the league in my opinion. And what he did, like even as a head coach of the Miami Dolphins, there's a lot of things that came into that. That's why he got fired. But he was an excellent head coach for the Miami Dolphins. And Mike Zimmer, I think with him, he obviously you see him his energy. He wasn't good in Minnesota. And as a defensive coordinator, I feel like he's very outdated. Like
Mm-hmm.
with Brian Flores, he's more in this era. You know what I mean? He's more with the players that are currently playing. Like a lot of players love him. And I think he's known for quickly turn around the defense. And it's kind of like what you said. It might be more like a top 20, 19. I'm going a little bold. I just think it's going to be a very iconic season for the Vikings. So I think it's going to be top 15.
Yeah,
That's bold, but I think it's going to happen.
Well, I would love that. I mean, we brought in some people and we re-signed. We restructured. I think, yeah, we re-signed Danielle Hunter for another year, and brought back Harrison Smith and the additions, Brian Murphy and Marcus Davenport, who landed himself on the injury report today, of course, but. Hopefully he's questionable. We'll see if he will play, but I know he's had some injury history before, but
Yeah.
hopefully some of the additions that we made and people who we drafted, or I should say undrafted, like Ivan Pace Jr., will make a difference this season. So yeah, if all those together can with Brian Flores' schemes, you know, can make top 15, it could happen. It could possibly happen. So, but I'm just hoping for at least top 20. So
That's a reasonable goal, and the Vikings they could at least get that. They're Super Bowl contenders. They have a top 5 offense. They could get that defense together. I mean, they made the playoffs. I mean, they made the Giants look good, but but Daniel Jones got paid though. Yeah, I mean the Vikings. They're like, you know what, Daniel Jones, you get paid, bro. We made it to the
yeah,
playoffs. That's our goal.
we helped Daniel Jones get that contract in the off season, which sort of in a way resetted the quarterback market a bit. So I hope Daniel Jones cashes out some checks to Ed Donatel right there. So yeah, but no, we need
And a thank you card, like Don Terrell, man, he helped them out.
he helped him out so much. Um, but I just hope that our defense can make stops, timely stops, and against offense, against average offense. If we can, I don't think we don't play the Giants this season, but if we, an average offense, if we can make if we can be timely stops with that, and against like great offense that we got to play this season, we got to play the Eagles and the Bengals. If we can do moderately well against those type of offenses, then I think this can be a solid team going forward. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of optimism for this defense. I know a lot of people have questions because a lot of people are the reason why they're not, sold on the Vikings is because their defense, because there's so many there is question marks. But I just keep pointing out, how I think people underestimate how important Brian Flores is to this defense, and how much a difference it's gonna make from last year to this year. So
And let's not forget, last season he learned from one of the greatest defensive coordinators who was a Viking, Mike Tomlin. Like that was big for Brian Flores because he was already good before he went there. Now he's gotten even better. So I think it's going to be very. I think that defense is going to look a lot different than what people were expecting. Like this team, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to take some time because I think the Vikings' first 4 to 5 games, I think the defense is going to have struggles because they're a very young team. They're kind of getting used to each other. Like they never really played with each other a whole lot. But I think that defense is going to turn out very well. I think it's going to take some time, but I think it's like I said, I think you guys are going to be Super Bowl contenders this year. It hurts me because like I wish I could say the same about the Bucks, but we got some growing pains to go through. And Baker Mayfield, I'm kind of excited to see where he's at. I think this is, in my opinion, I think he's going to have the best season. And if he does play like that, the Bucks have a top 10 offense and defense, in my opinion.
okay, the Buccaneers, I would say the one upside for you is the division, because there's a lot of teams in that division. I mean, you got Falcons and Panthers with some young quarterbacks. The only team that, I mean, and even the Saints, they just brought in Derek Carr. Well, and you guys also brought in Baker Mayfield. But there's a lot. So there's a lot of up in the air when it comes into the NFC South. I know a lot of people are picking the Saints to win the division, but I definitely think the Bucks can definitely can make a push for that NFC South titles. So I feel like that's sort of where I'm guessing. You can correct me if I'm wrong. That's sort of where you're probably looking toward to, or do you maybe think they can make a wild card playoff spot, or
Saints, I think, like I said, it's gonna come down to the Bucks and Saints. One thing I think people are underestimating about the Saints, they're a lot older than the Bucks. Like they're a couple of years older than us overall as a team. Michael Thomas hasn't had 1,000 yards since 2019, which seems like 10 years ago now with the pandemic in 2020. And Derek Carr, you look at his playoff record, Baker Mayfield has more wins than he does. And Derek Carr's been around for 10 years. I just think the Saints are getting very overvalued. Even Alvin Kamara is going to be out for 4 games, and he's heading towards that 30. He's almost 29 now. And I just think the Saints are getting very overvalued. I think they could be like 8 to 9 win team. But I think it's going to come down to the Bucks and Saints, and I think it's going to be we don't know. We really don't know how teams are going to look. I could be completely wrong about Baker, and he could be like what he was with the Panthers. Derek Carr could be very similar to what he was last season, which is kind of average. But in my opinion, I think I'm going to go bold. Bucks will be 10-7, I believe. If the defense plays as well, I think it does, and Baker Mayfield plays up to his potential, and Saints, I think it's going to be a battle. I think when we face them for the second time, I think it's going to be the battle for the NFC South. And that's my bold prediction, but I can see it playing out that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I sort of see it's sort of similar to, So, it's sort of it's I think it's really gonna depend on how Baker Mayfield plays. And you still got offensive weapons, with Evans and Godwin. So I mean, Baker has the playmakers to
He has all
throw
the
to.
weapons.
So and I think that will definitely help him a lot. Maybe he'll be back to his, when that season where he'll be when he made the playoffs and won a playoff game with the Browns. Maybe he'll be back to that form. Who knows? Maybe even better. Maybe it could be even better. I don't know. So
I agree. That's why I was really like a lot of people are like, Baker, but Baker. One thing that told me he was still recovering from his shoulder and his rotor cuff. You could look at the Browns 2021 season where it was like his last season in Cleveland, and it was really rough. But he came
mhm.
back from he tore his rotor cuff during that Chiefs game where him and Mahomes were battling it out. People like to forget earlier in that season he was playing damn well, and against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Um,
Yeah,
and then he tore that rotor cuff, and he just didn't play the same. He just didn't play very
right.
good. He didn't have the arm strength he once had. And I think that kind of lingered on towards the Panthers, because he got traded and he had surgery about like a couple months ago before then. And I think he was still kind of recovering. So I think that's why Baker struggled the past two seasons, in my opinion. Now I could be wrong, but I think Baker Mayfield, I think he's going to be fully recovered this season. And I think Baker Mayfield is going to show everybody why they should never doubted him, because everyone's hating on him. I'm not going to lie, half the Buccaneers fan base is. But I think he's going to prove everyone wrong. He was meant to be drafted #1 overall back in the 2018 draft.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's gonna be a lot of critics, week one, and he has a great chance to do that against the Vikings defense, who is still gonna be molding. Like, it's gonna have its growing pains. It's not gonna be, what I'm hoping it will be week one, maybe like a top 15, you know, top 20 defense right away. So he could definitely take advantage of that week one and, find some Viking weaknesses in the secondary and, get out to his playmakers. And, this could end up being and could end up making this a shootout, to be honest, with um, two pretty good offenses. So that's what I think could potentially happen on Sunday against the Buccaneers at home. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so as well. I think both defenses are going to struggle because we got some young guys on defense. Some guys, to me, are still very unproven, like Logan Hall. I just saw he's starting, and you probably haven't seen him too much, but last year he did not play like all the Buccaneers fans were thinking. He was kind of invisible in that defense.
Mhm.
So there's a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for both teams. That's why I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield versus Kirk Cousins. I think it's going to be like an up and down battle. Who can score the most points? I think it's going to come down to that. And who can, like Justin Jefferson? People are like, "Oh, can the Bucks shut him down?" Because we do. Dean has played very well the past couple of seasons of the Bucks. But
Mhm.
I think it's going to be an up and down battle. Hopefully, the only goal I have is keep Justin Jefferson under 100 yards. That dude's insane. We're talking.
Yeah,
I was telling you about it. Like he has the potential to be a better receiver than Randy Moss, and that is a rare feat within himself. That guy's a legend in his own way. What he was able to do with the Vikings in his tenure was insane.
absolutely. Justin Jefferson has, I mean, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the best uh, receiver in the NFL right now. He had broken a lot of records, and he is the most important person on our offense, and hopefully we will be keeping him around for a long time once contract extension hopefully gets done. But yeah, Jefferson, I mean, you saw it last year. He can make game changers like against the Bills, and that amazing 4th and 18 one-handed catch, for example.
Insane.
He can change the outcome of games, and people are going to be double teaming him, and hopefully if more coverage on Jefferson, we'll just throw it to our newly drafted receiver Addison, or we'll give it off to or Osborne, or it'll or TJ Hawkinson, who we gave a contract extension to not too long ago. Um, so there's a lot of weapons on this Vikings offense that not only the Bucks but the entire NFL um, will need to have their eyes on. So um, it's gonna be an uphill battle for defenses, because this Minnesota Vikings offense is definitely a top five. It's going to be a top five offense in the NFL. I might even be bold enough to even say it could potentially be a top three defense. I mean, top three offense. Oh my gosh, top three offense.
They're playing both sides now.
Yeah, I would rather have. I would have a. Oh my god, top three defense would be amazing. But no, a top three offense in the NFL. The only part that's making me a little bit like with top five, like with we got rid of we released Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison comes in. I love Madison. I just need to see. I need to see him, as an every down, more of an every down type of how he does as an every down type of bat. But hopefully, I'm hopeful that he will be he'll be pretty useful in this offense, and who knows, maybe could be almost what Dalvin Cook was. So
And I think it was a smart move the Vikings did. Dalvin Cook, he's a star. Don't get me wrong, but the guy, he had an injury bug on him. I mean, he's on and off of injuries. This is his healthiest season, but I had a feeling this year he probably would have got injured again somehow. And the Dalvin Cook, I just think, and the running, and he was getting paid like 11 million a year. The running back, like the pay for running backs is just not there anymore. And Dalvin probably wasn't willing to take a pay cut, which the Vikings, I'm sure, went up to him, hey, man, we can keep you, but we can't pay you that much anymore. Like,
right.
even the top players are not getting that anymore, so we can't pay you that. Vikings made a good business decision, but we'll see how it turns out on the field. I think Madison, in my opinion, you saw a lot of flashes. He's a fast guy, even for how big he is. That's why I think, in my opinion, he's going to be like a Marshawn Lynch, a big dude, but he has the speed of a guy that could be like freaking 170 pounds. Like he has that speed on him. So I think it's going to turn out well.
Yeah, I think it could potentially turn out well. I think I think his biggest strength will be in the receiving game, and can turn upfield with his speed. Um, down and try, and hopefully with the offensive line, I like the tackles, and I'm fine with the center. The interior offensive line, while still needs its um, work, still needs a little bit of work, can definitely create chances for Alexander Madison to find some holes in it, find some holes in the lines, and hopefully maybe break one off once in a while. So
And you guys had a miracle last year. I think it's because you guys, your offensive line overall is a lot better now. But Bradbury finally showed up. You know what I mean? After 4 years, he finally showed up and was able to be the lineman that you guys kind of drafted him for. And I think that's going to help a lot because Bradbury, I think he needs some help though. Like there's two, your guys' guard, Cleveland, and trying to see who the other guy is.
Ed Ingram.
Ingram. You know, they're having those two guys helping out. So they can help Bradbury be the center you guys wanted him to be. You know what I mean? He was looked at to be a top center because you guys had a lot of history drafting centers like Jeff Christie and all those guys. John Sullivan. And now he's starting to look up. Your guys' offensive line is looking really solid. So I think that running game's going to be a lot better, and it gives Kirk Cousins more time. Because to be honest, Kirk Cousins, man, he's been in the ringer for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm. I watched quarterback, and you know he took some hits from time to time. But yeah, I mean the offensive line from the past, I mean it has improved from years past where we actually have a decent offensive line that can actually hold up. So
That's been one of your guys' biggest problems for the past, like I would say, almost 10 years. You know what I mean? You guys really had a good offensive line since 09.
Yeah. I won't lie. I am worried. Again, I'm worried about. I am worried against that Bucks front. How your defensive line is gonna be. You know, you got Vita Vea and can't see who I'm pretty sure is probably going to be good to go to
Man,
play.
compared to Aaron Donald, so I was saying, yeah, that's at least a good sign.
Yeah, so
it's hard to compare to him though. He's like a Hall of Famer, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's that front line's gonna be tough. You know what I mean? And not only the front line, but the linebackers. You got Devin White, you got David. It kind of goes on, man. It's you know, it's gonna be a game. You know what I mean? I'd say because both teams have playmakers and top players. You know what I mean? Players that make a difference. Mike Evans, iconic. A lot of shit going on with him his contract wise, but him and Justin Jefferson, those are two iconic players on the offense. So it's going to be, you know, almost. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the best games so far in the season. And it's a bold statement, but the Bucs and Vikings, I don't think are getting talked about enough in Week 1. It's going to be a very big test for both teams.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a very big test for both teams. I mean, it is not talked about a lot because, like, I feel like people, you know, I've seen everyone's predictions. Like, I don't like to get too caught up in what everyone else, you know, says. Like, yeah, you know, most of the people are picking us to win. We're at home and all that. You know, you know, I think we can definitely win this game. But you know, I'm not. I think this is not going to be as easy as people think it's going to be. And another person I wanted to point out on your defense, who I'm a big fan of, is one Antoine Winfield Jr.
Oh yeah.
Yes, his father played for us, you know, and that's going to be a little emotional game for him. But yeah, but overall, I think this game will be a very good game, better than what people think it's going to be. So
yeah, Winfield goes back to Minnesota. The same place his father played in for a decade. You know, it's going to be an iconic game. And honestly, what the Vikings, what were they doing, man? They went for Jeff Gladney, not Winfield. Like honestly, back in that draft, I thought the Vikings should have drafted him. They should have just took it because already a late pick as it was. they should have just took and Tom Winfield because they're
Yeah,
but
I don't know what we were thinking. And I mean, not too. I mean, was it the yeah? We took Jeff Gladney. I mean, now in not last year's draft, but the year before that, we finally took a safety in Lewis Seen, who got injured last year. Um, but I would have just loved to have Antoine Winfield Jr. He would have been so good alongside Harrison Smith.
they're not gone.
Ooh, that man, we should have taken him instead. We got Jeff Gladney, who you know, um, um, you know, our RIP to him. So
Yeah, he didn't turn out. Yeah, he just never got it. Yeah, it seemed like yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one that passed away. He was doing really good until that fatal accident he had. But like after he left the Vikings, it just seemed like he needed a change of scenery. But yeah,
yeah,
I still think the Vikings should have won Winfield #1 because I believe they're like the 27th pick, 24th.
yeah,
And he did have an injury history, but at that point they were getting players that already had an injury history. So at that point, you might as well just take Winfield.
absolutely. They should have taken Winfield all the way. I mean, he. I mean, that would have been such a great story. Um, but yeah, I mean, he went to the University of Minnesota, balled out, and yeah, I don't know. I still wonder to this day why we didn't draft him.
I think Rick Smith
But
was too worried about his 15th, 7th round picks. I mean, I think he was too concerned with that. He's like, guys, we'll see if Winfield's still there, but we need to get our 7th round picks. Okay, those are very important.
I'm yeah, that's the Rick Spielman. That's the Rick Spielman way. So yeah, but we don't have Rick Spielman anymore. We got Quasi running the show
Now,
now.
Quincy would have
So
drafted Winfield without question. I think if he was the GM back then, he would have took him.
oh, he would have took him for sure, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
they actually didn't even give him a call. Like they were not planning on drafting Winfield. Winfield, yeah, he's like they never gave me a call. Because he was kind of, he's kind of waiting for it because obviously his dad played there, so he thought Vikings would at least be somewhat interested. But it was just that whole like last couple of years of the Vikings, it just seemed like it was just a little strange. The energy was off. They had the team, like they had a lot of great players on the defense and offense. But it now kind of everything after Mike Zimmer left, it showed like everything was a fear-based mentality, and Rick Spielman wasn't really, he wasn't too emotionally involved with the Vikings, so it kind of showed. It showed a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but with the new GM, with the new head coach Kevin O'Connell, this is a new team. The Vikings, they're not the Vikings back in 2021, where they couldn't when they get like they competed with everybody, but they couldn't win the game. They
hmm
couldn't finish. But now the Vikings are a new Vikings. You know what I mean? And I think you guys are going to be a very dangerous team this year. I think it's going to take a couple weeks. First 4 games, I think I'm going to be struggling, but I think overall, you guys, I wouldn't underestimate you. That's why everyone, the Bucks fan, I'm like, do not underestimate the Vikings. Yeah, I see them last year, and yeah, I went. They're not a team to sneeze at.
yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of people. I mean, no one is talking about us, which I like in a way. It's not like I'll go with my NFC North. Right, like the Lions, for example, like, they're doing good right now. It's just a lot of people, talking about them, but they're not talking about us who, we went 13-4 last year and won the division, got and improved on defense with Brian Flores, but yet no one is talking about it. And I sort of like, when people don't talk about us too much, because then, that sort of maybe gets in your head or whatever.
Yeah, get your big head like, oh yeah, man. Week 1, man, we're gonna feel breezy. We're gonna get Kirko Chains in there. Yeah, I mean, we'll be good.
Oh, yo, yes, yes. Like last year, I mean, even last year, I mean, it sort of got proven last year, but even when we were talked about last year, we were talked about besides the Kirko chain stuff, talking about frauds and all of that, which the defense didn't show up in the wild card, so in that ways, yeah, but like the offense was still good. So I think as long as the defense improves, I don't think if we somehow rack up some wins, you know, I don't think we should be labeled as frauds if we somehow rack up some wins. Rack up a lot of wins during the season. So
Yeah, the Vikings, I wouldn't consider them completely frauds. I think it was just that defense. Yeah, I mean, Don Terrell was just a bad idea to begin with. But they wanted someone to kind of mentor Kevin O'Connell because very young coach and doesn't have much experience with the head coaching wise. So they kind of wanted someone that was a veteran, kind of showing the ropes and everything. But I wouldn't put that on fully on Kevin O'Connell because if it was up to him, Don Terrell probably would have been fired. You know what I mean? Because he was
mhm.
there like that Colts game. That should have even been a history maker because that was just bad. Like, there's no way. How did you let them have the most points in the first half? What was it, like 30 points or something like that?
33 to nothing, and
33 nothing.
then yeah, yeah, that was bad. That should not that
And
we
the
should never
Vikings,
have been in that hole.
and fucking the offense is like, okay, guys, just hold my beer. I'll fix this. All right, Daddy's coming
Hmm.
home.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be that this season where, hey, we need every game, like, every game we need to score like 30, 40 points to win a game because that's not sustainable in the NFL, to
I don't know.
score like 30, 40 points a game. You need the defense to provide some assistance. So I do think, yeah, we'll be a top five offense, but the defense needs to step up, and is going to have to help us win some games here and there. So yeah, right, yeah,
Yeah, I think, and speaking of the Buccaneers and Vikings being the opener, there was two games previously in the past 20 years that were pretty iconic. And
mhm,
2005 was the most recent one, the first
yeah,
season without Randy Moss.
yeah. That absolutely hurt. That hurts not to have Randy Moss. You could tell right there that, yeah, life's gonna be very tough without Randy Moss, as we lost 24-13 against the Buccaneers at home in the dome. Dante, yeah, could not. Dante, I feel like felt lost without Randy Moss in 2005. So yeah, that
I'm kind of like
that's
Dante Culpepper. Like I see a lot of Vikings fans are like, "Man, he was awesome." But I talked to some more older like Vikings fans. Even my dad was a Vikings fan. He's like, "Nah, he wasn't that good." Yeah, he was carried by receivers like Mike, Randy Moss, and Chris Carter. They helped him a lot. Like he was kind of like to throw the bomb, and then Randy Moss or Chris Carter would catch it. I just feel like Dante Culpepper got showed when he went to the Lions. He didn't win a game.
yeah,
And that kind of showed quarterback. If Dante Culpepper didn't have the weapons he had with Chris Carter, Randy Moss, that kind of showed
mhm,
what kind of type of quarterback he was. Because Dante Culpepper, like, if he really was that quarterback people speak of, he would have brought the Vikings to the Super Bowl because he was in the championship a couple of times. So,
yeah.
or like deep in the playoffs at least. He had
I
opportunities with a really good team. So that's kind of my thoughts on him.
Yeah, I mean, Dante, definitely. I sort of have similar thoughts as well. I mean, yeah, he had those playmakers, and helped him a lot. And we made the NFC Championship game in 2000 with him, and we got shut out by the Giants. and ever since then, it's never really been. It had ever since then with him. It never was really the same. I mean, he had like in 2004, he had a great season. We beat the Packers. Moss mooned the fans at Lambeau. But I mean, in terms of where he ranks in like Vikings quarterback history, I mean, I'm that's still to be determined. I still think he was an okay running back. It's almost like he was Dante was more known for his legs, I think. And then he would throw one, as you said, throw one up to Randy or Chris or
Or maybe like Jerry
so
Reed. I think he was still there at that time, but
yeah. So when you have the playmakers, it definitely helps you out a lot. But he was still being remembered in Viking history as pretty good, one of the better quarterbacks. It's just he you know just not close, like not like it's hard to get better than for Vikings history, Tarkenton, for example.
Talking to him was special, man. Just what that guy was able to do, man, especially in that era.
Yeah, so but yeah, that's but in terms of that Bucks game, yeah. He didn't really do that good against the Bucks that one. Unlike the so no, wait, no, that was a different quarterback. Cunningham. So the other game, right, from the past 20 years, the 98 game. So if we're talking about comparing Cunningham
Yeah, I think they're
and
very similar quarterbacks. They're
very
very
similar
comparable.
quarterbacks. So yeah, 98. That was like a special season where you have the weapons as well with like Cunningham, and his weapons, and as well similar weapons with Moss and Carter, um, and Robert Smith as running back. So yeah,
I'm trying to think. The Bucks quarterback. Uh, that's like I would think be Brad Johnson, but he was with us for about 3 years. I think that was the year he actually left. So I'm trying to think who was the quarterback. I believe it was Sean Kane at that time.
in
Um,
2000, they were talking about 2005 or
yeah,
1998.
2005.
2005. Okay. Um, I
Yeah, because
think.
I feel like it's Brad Johnson or Sean Kane, one of those two. Or
Um, I can check for you. It says it's Brian Greasy. Brian Greasy.
okay, that's probably why I don't remember. He was not good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Unless
sure how we won that game then.
I don't know how you won that game, but I think it was just
I tell you, it's I'm trying to remember his name, but it was a running back, man. He was iconic. Um, who was it? Someone just mentioned on Twitter, man. Because I'm still kind of getting used to Buccaneers history. I've only been a fan for about 2 years now, so I'm still getting used to it. But I'm trying to think who it was though. He was
your running back in 2005. You said.
yeah, he was. He's probably the one that really helped us win that game.
Yeah, it looks like it. Cadillac Williams. It looks
Cadillac
like.
Williams, yes. Yeah, Cadillac, man, like the name, like he was fucking Cadillac in that game, man. He was just running over that defense, and he really led the charge in that game.
Yeah,
Brian Greasy, man, that guy, he wasn't gonna get it done. We needed Cadillac in that game.
yeah,
Now we're
absolutely.
gonna go back a little further, and it's ironic that the Vikings are actually doing throwback jerseys because the second time they faced was in '98.
Yes.
The best season, that one of the best seasons the Vikings have ever had, the most
Yeah.
iconic season.
iconic season, 15-1. Only loss was the Buccaneers, but it wasn't the home opener game. It was the one in Tampa Bay. We only lost by 3, so almost the perfect season, but
So I
just
guess we're
couldn't get
still
it.
in the division. If we faced twice, we must have still been in the Central League.
Yes, you're still in the
Or the,
Central.
yeah.
And yeah, fun fact for everybody: the Buccaneers have won the division more recently than the Lions. So we'll see if that change. We'll see if that could definitely change this season. So, but yeah, yeah, Randy Moss absolutely tore it up in 98 opener. He got the one touchdown that day. I always see being replayed. It was a little bit underthrown. By Brad Johnson because he started the year as the quarterback and then Cunningham.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he underthrew it to sort of underthrew it to Randy Moss. He sort of popped, got it popped up in the air and then came down with it. Um, so and so Randy Moss uh, absolutely tore it up. Not only that game against the Buccaneers, but absolutely tore it up during during the season. So and easily won himself rookie of the year, and is now and is one of the best receivers in the history of the NFL, and you know, and someone who Justin Jefferson is definitely looking up to, and hopefully can surpass him one day. So it all just comes around.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's almost like he's like the reincarnated Randy Moss, and Randy Moss, like Jerry Rice, he said this a while, he said this long ago, but if Randy Moss would have more focused on his footwork, because he had a natural ability, like he was a freak, man, but if he could more work on his skill level and stuff like that, and because he was going wild there. Like he was a wildcat during those years, man. Like I remember even during one of the practices, I remember reading about this. He literally sprayed one of the freaking one of the people that was with the Vikings with a water bottle. I think it was like I think it was their ref or something, and he just scored a water bottle. He got like fined. He got fined for that, but he was a
Yeah,
wild one back then.
absolutely. Yeah, and the Buck. Yeah, they're Randy Moss. You
Randy
got
Moss still
you
living,
got
man.
Mossed. You got Mossed. So that's
That
what he
that's
was known
forever
for.
in anyone's mind. Like that's and the Mary Moss deserves to be enshrined like that. Yeah, he's earned that. And he had and Justin Jefferson can do what Randy Moss couldn't. Randy Moss he could have been better than Jerry Rice if he would have worked on more like his skill level because he had natural ability. But if he could work on his footwork and stuff like that, that helps the receivers last a long time in the league because he retired when he was like 34, 35 a second round. And
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson could be the best receiver in NFL history if he keeps doing what he's doing. It's bold, but
it's bold.
I think he could be better than Randy Moss. But I think he could be the best receiver in NFL history. If he keeps going the way he's going, because injuries could happen. Like this season, he could tear something major and he could never play again. But as far as right now, I think he could be better than Randy Moss right now. He has the potential.
Potential. I think one goal for him is to get that 2,000, get the triple crown, basically, get the
Yeah, he got
2,000
he got
yards.
torched the last season, man. Like he was less than 200 yards away from hitting 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I think he can get it this season. I definitely think he can get it this season.
But not week one.
And
We're keeping Justin Jefferson under 100 yards. Yeah, I mean, Dean's gonna be all over him.
we'll see about that. Or it could be like last year, week 1, where we played the Packers and he absolutely tore it up. I don't know because I can remember how much he got, but it was like 100 and
It was
uh
insane.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
honestly, if we did have Dean or Carlton Davis, I would be very nervous. But Dean has shown he's like a top 15, top 20 cornerback. He's
Yeah.
really impressed me. So I think it's going to be a battle, man. Though I'm optimistic, but I'm really saying he's probably going to get over 100 yards. I think he's going to be a key factor And that's not and Kirk Cousins. Loves tight ends, and he has one of the best ones in the league, T.J. Hawkinson. So it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're all going to be looking at this coming Sunday. And then, of course, on the other side of the ball, I think all eyes are going to be on Baker. So, um, yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how. Going to be interesting to see how he messages into the offense. So and how the Vikings defense does, of course. So that's sort of like, we got some established, with one side of the ball, the Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson connection, versus your backfield with, Dean, uh, and all your guys. And then of course you have on the other side the unknown, which is how Baker Mayfield's going to do versus our defense, which we don't know how
We don't know how they're
it's
going to
gonna
look.
mesh. So
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be an iconic game. I don't know. Like I just feel like it's going to be very special. Maybe to me, because I was a Vikings fan, and like now the Bucks versus the Vikings, like that's special to me. But I just feel like it's going to be a special game overall for enough. I think this is the game to watch. Like for all you guys watching, this is the game to watch. The Bucks versus the Vikings. Two teams going at it, Baker Mayfield versus Kirk Cousins. And Baker Mayfield, he has everyone's hating on him. Like most people are hating on him. Some of the Bucks fans are like, "Hey, give him a shot, man." Like this guy, like a lot of people are saying he's arrogant, he's selfish. But to me, what I've seen so far, he hasn't been. He's been a team leader, and even opportunity. He had the opportunity to be in commercials, which a lot of people gave him hate for like at home with Baker Mayfield.
mhm.
And the Netflix shows the quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, they offered him 2 years in a row to be in that Netflix with Netflix. And he's like, no, I want to, because he wants to focus on the season. That shows you what kind of leader he is. He's not looking for publicity. He's looking for to be the best quarterback he can be. Baker Mayfield, to me, he's a guy that will fight for every yard. And that year with the Browns, he didn't have to play. He could have got surgery and waited till the other season the following season where he ended up getting traded anyway, but he would have had more value. But with him, he wanted to be there for the team, helping them get to a Super Bowl. He's a fighter, and that's the team leader he is. So that's why I think Baker, his back's been against the wall for his entire career. He walked on in two colleges, Texas Tech and Oklahoma, and then went to Cleveland, #1 overall. And past 20 years, there hasn't been a good quarterback in Cleveland. Like no one could do it. Baker did. He won a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns. That was the first time in 20 years that the Browns won a playoff game. So I think Baker Mayfield gets a lot of unnecessary hate. The last 2 years, I get it. He hasn't looked good, but you got to keep in mind he's been injured. I mean, since he tore his vertebra, that was a major injury. So it takes time to recover and stuff like that. So, like I said last year, I think he was still kind of recovering from that, and this year, he's fully healthy now. So I say finally show what he was in 2020. He's going to be the Baker Mayfield from that season because he has Dave Canales, who's going to be working. He's worked with a former Rams offensive coordinator that has a scheme like Sean McVay, where he learned under. So I think Baker Mayfield is. I think he's going to show everybody that he's supposed to be here, and he ain't going back. What I mean, he's going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you do like I don't know what is your like I don't know if you do like a prediction for the game or
I was telling this to my co-host. We made a podcast yesterday, or I think the day prior. I predict it's going to be up and down game. So I think it's going to be 28-24. But Baker Mayfield has to make. He has to have the drive of his life. 2 minutes. I'm not sure how much time it's going to be on the clock, but it's going to be one final drive, and Baker Mayfield's going to have to lead the Buccaneers to a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Or a
So you said
game-winning drive.
28-24. Do you say
28-24.
Is that Bucks or Vikings?
Bucks.
Bucks. That's. I mean, I. What? Shouldn't. This. Um. Yeah, I think it'll be a close game as well. Another one of those one possession games. You know, I think what did I have predict? I had the Vikings, and I think I had like a 31 to what was it 31? It was either like 31-24 or 27. One of those two for
Yeah, it could be
Minnesota.
like that. It could be a little higher, but I'm gonna kind of. I think it's gonna be tight because I think Justin Jefferson and Dean are going to go at it, man. I think that's the two players to watch on that side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I had to bring you on, man. A Vikings fan, like this is a game we've been waiting for. We talked about this last year. Making podcasts on this, and that we knew it was gonna be iconic.
Iconic indeed, bringing the throwbacks. So,
The throwbacks, man. Yeah, this I tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The creamsicle jerseys, they give me nightmares. They legit give me nightmares. I want to throw up every time I see them, and I think I die a little bit inside every time I see them.
well, you're not going to be wearing them against us. So,
Yeah,
it's just
well,
us.
we're gonna be wearing them with the Lions. Everyone's so excited. I'm like, I'm actually like, I do want to watch that game, but it's gonna be a good game. But I'm like second guessing myself. I'll watch every game. I'm like, do I really want to put myself through a torture and possibly be partially blind, or is this worth it?
Fair.
Now,
Fair.
your guys' throwbacks pretty odd. You guys got great throwback jerseys. They're iconic. I think they're
Yeah.
better than you guys' current jerseys. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I like just the Bud Grant patch. It's just a good, just touch to it. So, um, excited for week one as always. So,
yeah, and Bud Grant, man, that guy, he's a legend, man. In my opinion, he is the best Vikings coach you guys have ever had. Kevin O'Connell could change that narrative, but so far it's Bud Grant. Like that guy, what he was able to do with the Vikings, it was a great feat.
yeah. Yeah, one of the best to ever do it. So hopefully in this game, we'll be able to honor him I think pardon me, honoring him and other, just him at halftime. So yeah, you know, so it's gonna be good. He's recently passed and all that. So, you know, we're gonna do a great tribute.
Yeah, I forgot he passed away, man. That guy, I almost don't believe it because that guy, honestly, I would believe Bud Grant would have lived to 105. Like how that dude was,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I feel like he's gonna be that type of guy to live that long, So it's
He
but he
lived
did
for a
live.
very
He lived a long life, and at least he got to see some good Vikings football before he passed.
sense, 100%. So we're gonna this game this season is for Bud. So
You got to, Bud. Bud's gonna give Vikings his spirits with the Vikings right now. So hopefully he can help them get to the Super Bowl. I just hope it's delayed after week one. Week one. I hope Vikings go all the way, but week one, Tampa's coming to town.
mm, we'll
We're bringing the
see.
cannons, man. We're shooting all the cannons on that Viking ship.
Oh, okay. And we'll just go back. We'll just throw an axe at your ship and
Hey,
make it
we
sink.
did some repairs on our ship, so it might be a little harder.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh man. And I think that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you for coming on, Mesa Vikings fan. It was as always, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much. It is always a pleasure talking with you, having a good time talking, some Bucks or Bucks Vikings. So thank you again, and good luck this Sunday.
You too, man. I'm so Bucks are gonna win, but I hope the only thing I'm hoping is a good game. I think it will be.
It'll be a good game for sure, for sure.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with guests, Minnesota Vikings fans. Check them on YouTube. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I hope you buck that.